Talk about the risk versus reward of speaking up in the workplace, being disrespected, people stealing credit. Oh yeah, confrontation at work, dealing with passive aggression. You gotta get on their level. Welcome to Consequences of Our Culture podcast. I'm Randall.
I'm Stephanie.
And today we will be talking about consequences of speaking up in the workplace. Very important subject because I'm pretty sure most of us have worked, and you got to know how to defend yourself in these environments. They think they could treat you like filth, but you got to stand up for yourself. All right, let's get into it. So,
treat you like filth.
Have you ever been in a position at the work, not a job position, but like felt that you couldn't speak up in the workplace for fear of retaliation?
I feel like the answer should be yes.
Okay.
I just cannot think. I'm trying to think of an actual scenario or time that I think it's kind of an unspoken thing. I think we all probably have. It's like
you didn't experience nothing like that in the Air Force, or?
Yeah, I'm sure I did.
I
but
could say sometimes in the Army.
I can't think of what that retaliation would be. Like if I did say something, like I can't think of it like, oh, if I'd said this, then they would have done this. I think it's just one of those unspoken things, though, that you just know, like, there's certain things you don't say in the workplace because you know that,
right.
Maybe it's politics. Everybody else may be on one side, right. And if you say something, then it may be a little harder to work with everyone. Yeah. So, yeah, I have been there. I'm just...
Okay, yeah. I could say maybe before my service and during my service in the Army, like the jobs before I joined the Army and while in the Army, there's been times that you kind of got to go with the flow. You got to go with the general, opinion, even if it's not necessarily your opinion. Because if you went against it, you'll be labeled an outcast and such, and it can hurt you going up further in the your ranks. But what's the risk versus reward factor for me? For those instances, it wasn't something that was pressing to say, so it was never worth the risk of being outcast or being demoted. It wasn't a child's life on the line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it wasn't life or death situation. But have you ever spoken up to something you didn't feel like was right in your workplace, and how did they respond to that? Oh, no?
I mean, I'm sure I have. I'm sure there's been, especially in the military.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know.
That's cool. That's cool. I know. This is after the military. So after the military, just a little backstory. I didn't care. I was the man. You could do whatever you want. You could say whatever you want. It's fine. But yeah, after that, it was plenty of times I was definitely more open and vocal, and especially when you're more experienced, if it's a trade or a skill, if you're more experienced, they're more susceptible to listen to you. You have a little backing. And I would, tell people all the time, it's like, I would openly share my opinions and tell people all the time, oh, that's wrong, that's going to work out. And talk against management in some instances. And, they definitely I don't know if management did, but my peers did, and everyone under me respected me more for it, for being able to speak up
Yeah.
and stuff for that. You ever dealt with a passive aggressive manager?
Oh yes. Now that I can definitely speak on.
Okay.
I have definitely been under a leadership that has been passive aggressive, where they don't quite just come out and say. You
Right.
kind of have to read between the lines, and I'm not good with reading between the lines. I can feel that something is off, but I may not always know what exactly the issue is. I just know
Okay.
there's something, which I guess is the point of passive aggression. But yeah, like I'm trying to think of a situation like or an example of that, which I guess I don't necessarily need an example, but the point is, yes, I have experienced that, and yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I think
I dealt with it wasn't my last job, but I had this job for over a year, and it was a government job. And the way this guy, he wouldn't give you all the keys. He wouldn't give you, let's say he wouldn't give you all the keys to the house. He'd give you one key, and he wanted you to keep coming back to him and asking for the next key, and then come back and ask you for the next key. And I was just like, oh, why haven't you, because the job wasn't like that hard. It wasn't like, entry level, but at the same time, it's stuff I've done before. And there were certain niches that they wanted done at, this particular agency. And he would just like he was like, oh, well, when you're ready for this and ready for that. And then like he would come back and say, oh, well, why didn't you do this? Oh, why didn't you do this? And I was like, you wouldn't give me that information. I've asked you and you wouldn't, give me that.
Right.
He wanted to string you along, and at the end he wanted to blame you for stuff and put stuff on you. And you know what I did? I let a lot of stuff build up and I quit. And now it fell all on him.
yeah.
And he got in trouble for it. And that's how I dealt.
Sounds amazing.
That's how I dealt with that bullshit. Because like it wasn't something that I need, and I feel like if they feel like you need something, or if they feel like you need this, and I could hold you wherever I want you. I could keep you wherever I want you. Like I have a little control over you. They'll use it.
Yeah.
And I'm a very polite person when being professional, and I don't take things to heart, but I listen, and I jot it down. You could say something, and that like you might try to feel like it's slick talk, or might try to offend me, and I won't show any reaction. But in my head, I jotted it down, and I'll return it later.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next one. Have you ever felt disrespected in the workplace?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I've had moments where like I'll be told that, you're doing a great job, every like all of our meetings, the one-on-ones, like everything is fine, you're hitting your marks, everything's good, and then you have these moments where something one, you may have messed up on one thing, and then suddenly they're like, you're just all these like laundry list of things is wrong, and it's
You're
like
the
it's
worst
been
person
good,
in the world.
right? And it's like all these other things. It's like it's been fine all this time, and now all of a sudden it's like, I hired you for this specific thing, and now you're not giving it to me, and and I feel like that's when the disrespect starts to come in, where because you've messed up, and now they just feel like they can come in and talk to you any kind of way, and I've been told like that I'm acting like a salary worker, and because I didn't seem passionate about the work that I was doing. Just weird. It's just, yeah, I've been yelled at in front of everyone for not filling up a gas tank, not putting $5 in a gas tank, you know. So yeah, I've been disrespected several times in the workplace.
There's definitely a way to handle things when you're in a management position. And I know they talk about like, different types of managers like laissez-faire and, very hands-on managers, direct managers, stuff, managing. But treating people with respect should, always be a part of management. If it's an issue and it's something I could talk to you one-on-one, I'm going to talk to you one-on-one. I'm not going to yell at you in front of everyone. That's unprofessional.
Yeah.
Even though that person did something wrong, I look like an asshole.
Exactly.
No matter what.
Exactly.
And it would be so much professional and so much easier if you had those one. And I find out people will respect you for that. They'll know that they could come to you for things instead of, oh, this is the the blowhole. He'll go crazy.
Right. Yeah.
So it opens up more communication in the long run, and it's more proficient for the company. I was about to say country. But
shoot, for the country too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane. I feel like you would think it'd be common sense to to not talk to your employees in a certain way, not have that disrespect. I feel like I think respect needs to go, both ways.
I could definitely say that's a lot of older people, the generations before us. I could say like our generations, they kind of do a lot too much of the like one-on-one. Like even I was like, hello, Randall. Can I talk to you? Can I have a word with you?
Oh my gosh!
And I'd be like, yo,
can I talk to you?
And we already be by ourselves anyway. I was like, you can
just say it.
Say what you got to say. I'm busy.
Right.
Saying we at work, and then they'll do that. But it's cool. You ever had anyone steal credit?
Oh yeah, several times.
Several times.
I think people, but I don't know if people necessarily do it on purpose. Okay. How
can you steal credit on accident?
It's just, I think that, okay, so there's been several times that in my career I'm great at coming up with ideas, right? I have tons of, I work in marketing, so, I'm great at coming up with like concepts and campaigns and things that we could be doing, right? And I'm better at the overarching idea and maybe not necessarily getting down into the details of executing some, so I think because I may have come up with the concept and then I've had managers or even coworkers that may take that concept and then run with it and start doing, and maybe they've changed it up and they've done all these different things, but they don't come back and say, like they take it as if it was their idea or their thing to do, and they don't remember that actually Stephanie was the one who initially said, hey, I think we should do X, Y, and Z, and but I think because I don't know, it's that kind of stuff. I understand how it could bother somebody, and maybe it has in the past. Like there's definitely been moments where I'm like, excuse me, like that was you coming in here, and they will literally say, I had this idea, and I'm like,
what?
It was me. Like we talked about that. Like I'm the one who said that. Like, what is happening? But I've found that it has not stopped me from being, successful, and I've just learned you got to learn how to make sure that people know that it was you. You just got to be the first one to say it and speak up and not fall to the back,
I do understand that. I do try to make sure people know I did it. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
you look at the work and you're like,
Send
Randall has
emails.
something to do with this.
Emails is the best way for that.
Oh, yeah.
I will send an email in a heartbeat that, hey, I had this idea to do X, Y, and Z. So then it's written down somewhere. And even if they don't, in the big meetings, say Stephanie did X, Y, and Z, then, it is what it is, because, I still got a job. Still
I had
doing well,
a guy, and this was a it was a new project for the company. They sent us to this place. I'm not gonna say, like, I'm trying not to say names and stuff, but this guy, he was a fellow manager, and they were like, whoever, we were in a meeting, a bunch of managers, higher ups, and someone said, whoever did this and that was a great idea. I'm the person who did it. Me and my people did it. And then another guy, I don't know what he was thinking, if he didn't understand, if he was confused, and he said, "Oh yeah, I did that." I had to right there, Steph. I had to correct him right there, and then I had to have receipts, and I was like, "No, we did that. Me, Blase Blase, and Blase Blase did that." I had to call him out right there. I don't know if he thought I wasn't going to speak up, but
yeah, you're good. See, I wouldn't have said anything.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person I would have just let him have it.
And then, like, how flabbergasted I was. I kept talking a little bit after that. I was like, I started, like, being negative towards him for a little bit, but that was wrong on me. But still, you gotta speak up. In the workplace, you gotta speak up for yourself.
I know,
because you find out that no one else really will, and not too many times. Like, someone might say, "Oh no, I saw such and such and doing this. They're such a great person. They're doing such a great job." They might do that like once or twice, but at the end of the day, you gotta check people. You gotta put people in check.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
yeah. But also, I don't know. I've never been one to care too much about that. Like, yes, as a human being, it bothers me if somebody's literally taking my work. But also, for me, it's work. It's not my, like, it's not where I get my, like, fulfillment in life or anything. So I try to remember that my goal here is to make money, so that I can then go pay my bills and do the things that I enjoy. So I try not to get too hung up in any of that, because it's not like my main focus. I'm really, and I think also the military too is like has ingrained in me about like just getting the mission done. Like, I'm really about, like, we have a goal, we have a mission that we need to accomplish, and we just need to do it. And I don't care necessarily, like, if they're like, Sergeant Bivens, you're the one, you did a great job or whatever. It's like, to me, it's like, we got it done. We got the goal done, and I don't care how it got done. I don't care who gets the whatever
credit.
The credit, but. But I still got to document. I document though.
Nice.
For my one-on-ones, and when later on when I want to say I need a raise, it's because, oh look, I did all this.
Mm-hmm. So, how do you deal with confrontation? Like, when they were aggressive with you about the gas thing, or you have to have a disagreement with a coworker. How do you deal with confrontation in the workplace?
I am so much better than I used to be. And early on in my career, I would probably just try to avoid it. I would just take it. I would just say, I would just been like, probably go home and cry about it, tell my mom, that she yelled at me in front of everyone, that kind of thing. But the person that I am now, when that situation happened, I don't know if it was the next day or maybe, I was thinking it was the next day because I needed time to cool off a little bit. And that next morning I said, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" Pulled her into her office and told her that it was very disrespectful and it was uncalled for to be spoken to in that manner. And she received it. And we actually worked like really well together after that. Like, I felt like with that manager in particular, we were able to then like move forward, and she understood that, that was inappropriate and that she can't talk to me that way. And especially when it's something that I've never been briefed on before. Again, that's the military coming out briefing. But, you know, I had not been told prior about there was no policy in place about, the gas tank and filling it up. And that typically when I get a company vehicle, it's at half a tank. So me leaving it at well over half, wasn't completely full. But like I said, it would have been like $5 to fill it up. It just did not know that was a policy. And it's not actually a policy. It's just it was just something that she would like for our, our team to do and lead the way in that manner of, of having good habits of not leaving the vehicle, or leaving it on full for the next person. And I just told her very, very politely but firmly that can't happen again. I can't be spoken to in that way. And especially over something so trivial that you could have just said, hey, I think, I know this is not something that typically is done here, but I think it's good practice, and I think I'd like for our team to lead the way, and in the future, be sure to fill up the tank, even if it's just a couple of dollars. Because guess what? Also, later on, when I did fill up the tank and I put in $5 in a tank, she asked, why do we have a receipt for just $5 on the gas? Like, what? I said, remember our conversation we had. Remember, you said we need to fill up the gas tank,
right?
And that was all that was needed to be filled up. So, yeah, it's people have their bad days, but it's like you can't let them. Just because you're having a bad day, you can't take it out on your team. You have to be able to stand up for yourself, and I think that just comes with time.
And people can't let that be an excuse.
Right.
Like, people can't say, oh, she's just having a bad day. Don't worry. That's not fair. Because we're
all having bad days.
Professionals. That's literally what being a professional means. Being able to separate if someone's passed or something, you shouldn't even come to work.
Exactly.
You should stay home.
Yeah.
Don't work through it. Go away, because you're about to bring this negative energy here, and you're gonna get us all mad.
Right. So
you grieve, take your grieving period or whatever, and you should always be professional. There's definitely a level of professionalism at every job, but for like jobs that aren't like hard labor, jobs that like in corporate, it should be nothing but professional. It should be, if you got to speak to me, there's no emotions in it. You're just telling me what I need to do, or I'm telling you, my concerns or whatnot. It's nothing personal.
Yeah.
And well, that was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. And, I hope you're out there not getting disrespected by Kathys and Karens, and you're doing your work and turning in your stuff on time. And that does it. I'm Randall.
I'm Stephanie.
Have a great day. Delegating while in management position, the best type of manager. Okay. Ready?